Fresh off of being selected number 2 in the NFL draft and signing a $46.6 million contract, Travis Hunter abruptly got married to his girlfriend, who's been in the news over the last couple of years, without signing a prenup.
An incredible last memory of taking the field with his sons, Shador and Shiloh, here at Folsom Field at home.
Travis Hunter truly about to make a shocking announcement and leave the Jaguars? The current rumors aren't your typical chatter about a better opportunity or a new contract. Rumor has it that this is entirely related to his wife, Lyanna, and has nothing to do with playbooks or game statistics. Online fans are certain that one of his teammates may have become too close to her. You already understand the type of mess I'm referring to when I say too comfy, when things become even more messy the moment. This isn't a well-thought-out move that was publicized beforehand. This decision has been described.
Now, this left everybody, particularly legal experts, completely befuddled and prompted this one divorce lawyer to offer free prenups to every single rookie who just got drafted into the NFL.
All of the new rookies that came out of the 2025 draft, 200 and something players, we will give them all a free prenuptial agreement. See, NFL players in particular are really susceptible, because here's why. NFL players have the shortest careers of professional athletes. That's why their compensation is so front-loaded. And so to get married at a time when you are in your highest possible earning years, without a prenuptial agreement drafted between you and the person that you like out of the other 8 billion other options more than anything, that's foolish. You know, I've been working very hard with Trusted Prenup, which is an organization, a company that I helped found, to try to democratize prenups, normalize prenups, show that it's not just for first-round draft picks. It's for anybody. It's for everybody. And it shouldn't be something that's only
described as abrupt, intimate, and rife with drama. According to online discussion, there are other factors at play. It's embarrassing. It's the kind of scandal that could have everyone in the locker room sneering at one another if it's true. We're talking about resurfaced old video clips, murky background rumors, and a marriage that has already shown signs of public disintegration. Travis's departure may be the most peaceful aspect of the whole affair. If even half of this is true. Let's be honest now. NFL.
Okay.
Never post when y'all have problems.
Okay.
And be honest. Always be honest.
You got the
Transactions occur frequently. Players move teams, try to get larger payments, and set themselves up for greater offers. That is typical. However, given Travis Hunter's current circumstances, this feels different. Without the customary warning or public justification, a young player who is hailed as one of the Jags' potential franchise stars is suddenly prepared to pack up his locker and walk on. And everyone's initial thought when something like this happens suddenly is, what really happened? You would anticipate the typical safe PR line if this were solely about football. It's simply business. I'm prepared for a fresh start. My career is my main priority. Travis, however, has stopped talking. And the thing that has everybody on edge is that silence, particularly considering how boisterous and ecstatic he was on the day the Jags selected him. Posting, speaking loudly, and grinning broadly. Not a word now. Additionally, in the NFL, there are instances when a press conference cannot express what silence can, and for that reason, the internet has gone into full detective mode, sifting through TikTok For You pages, Twitter timelines, and Reddit threads to piece together every detail like it's the biggest case of the year. Additionally, the same explosive theory, that this isn't about touchdowns or stat sheets, keeps coming up no matter where you scroll. It concerns the private life of Travis Hunter. Particularly, a startling allegation that one of his own teammates could have gone too far with his wife, Lyanna. If such is the case, it could be a betrayal that ends one's career in addition to being a bad look. Only cryptic, ambiguous clues in the rumors. Mysterious remarks such as, check the roster, and look at who she's been around lately.
Be a career-altering betrayal.
Now, that's James Sexton. He's a divorce lawyer who you may have seen on Andrew Huberman's podcast and Lex Friedman. He was on Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz, and he is trying to bring prenups to the entire world, and said that after his offer, he had a few rookies actually reach out and take him up on the free prenup. It's a smart move by the NFL players and a brilliant marketing move by him. Because at the end of the day, everybody should have a prenup. It should be completely standard with all the other paperwork you sign. There should just be another one that decides everything financially. Because why would you take your most irrational and illogical feelings, your most emotional moments of love and romance, which are the most non-tangible, unexplainable, uncontrollable thing you feel, and then link it to all of your money and all of your finances and all of your tangible hard work? And even more important than that, why the fuck would you let the government or some random judge or a bunch of lawyers decide this shit for you? It all can affect your, your taxes and your real estate, and there's implications for retirement and earnings and family, and you're like, we'll just figure it out later. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm sure it's not even gonna happen, and if it does, it'll probably go smoothly, right? What could go wrong? You never want to root against the guy, but Travis Hunter is getting married at the age of like 15 with $50 million. There's a lot of time between now and death. That shit could go south.
Lately were being made. Then, however, things became more intense. Fans began posting real names on TikTok and Reddit. At that point, the rumor progressed from rumors to a full-scale public probe. According to the tale, Travis's own Jaguars colleague became overly friendly with Lionel. You don't even need a complete statement to understand what's being described, just the expressions on people's faces convey that something is wrong. However, nobody is verifying anything. The front office of the Jaguars? Quiet. Travis? Quiet. What about Lionel? On social media, not a word. No comments, likes, or postings. She has absolutely stopped talking. Fans may only rely on an old interview in which she stated that she maintains a strong marriage by not allowing social media to control it. However, you are aware of how the internet operates. Silence only causes others to think the worst. It doesn't actually calm the storm, and what really stoked this controversy was how well the rumor matched what many said they had previously witnessed. The video that purportedly showed Lionel conversing and leaning near to a particular Jaguars player reappeared months ago. Yes, the video is all over again, and people are analyzing it frame by frame as if it were courtroom evidence. The true hurt for fans is that this tension has been building for months if the guy in that old tape is the same one mentioned in the recent rumors. This suggests that the uncomfortable feelings and odd energy that pervaded the backstage areas weren't coincidental. Rather, they might have been the first indications of an impending crisis. Here and there were small warning signs. Whispers about the strange atmosphere at practice. Fans claimed that the tension was palpable through the screen. People began to notice that Travis was no longer surrounded by the same players that used to joke, laugh, and hang out with him. The casual friendship seemed to have vanished abruptly. It was awkward, cautious, and seemed like everyone was tiptoeing around an elephant in the room, even during news conferences. Although no one has publicly acknowledged the drama, the body language speaks for itself. The squad continues to act as though nothing is wrong. However, if you pay great attention, it's difficult to miss Travis's growing distance. He used to laugh with the men, but not anymore. On the sidelines, he frequently stands by himself, looking around the field as if his mind were in a different place, and a lot would make sense if this rumor regarding Lionel and a teammate were even partially accurate. Imagine sharing a locker room, traveling, and practicing with someone you don't even want to look at. Not only is that painful, but it is also extremely draining. The whole thing began to feel less like football and more like one of those untidy, behind-the-scenes soap operas that you can't help but watch after fans began to make those connections. And let's face it, home life won't be a peaceful haven if the locker room is tense. Declared the shift to be irrefutable when Travis finally took center stage. His grin? Compelled. His vitality? Mute. It appeared
retreat.
It was an accident. Do you remember when
I love you. Oh, I ain't mean to say that.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's literally what happened. We would like, he would drive. Wait, no, I would drive. He didn't have a car. I would drive and I would like drop him off somewhere and I'd be like, all right, I love you, bye. And remember? And I used to be like, oh.
as though he was operating on autopilot, the spark that he used to bring into every room had faded. And that change wasn't missed. The man who used to excite people with a single laugh was suddenly projecting an air of, here because I have to be. People began to draw attention to the minor nuances. How he frequently stood with his arms crossed in pictures. How his rigid jawlines and prolonged stares replaced his once funny sideline antics. It felt like a wall had been raised even as he entered the stadium with his headphones on, head down, and no recognition of the cameras. The Travis Hunter who fans believed they were familiar with? Fading slowly, then the rumors began to fly out of control. Because fans were no longer merely making connections between Lionel and a potential teammate. They were posing a more significant query: will Travis as we know him disappear? Was this only a marriage in trouble, or was it a man's realization that the life he had created both on and off the field was falling apart at the same time? Now, every action, every pause, and every snippet of reaction reads like a piece of a larger narrative. The abrupt withdrawal from the limelight feels more like retreat than rest. And when a player retreats that much, supporters can't help but wonder if he's preparing to quit the game altogether. Not just the Jaguars' arm was free of Lionel. No easy smile, the same locked-in, distant gaze as if his thoughts were 1,000 miles away. The tone of the whispers altered at that point. Some began to question whether Travis wasn't simply avoiding a certain teammate. Perhaps he was avoiding whole scenarios in which he would have to respond to inquiries or face side-eye. Everything felt considerably more sticky because of the moment. During those same weeks, Travis began to fade from the public eye. Internet rumors about him and Lina were circulating. He did nothing online to address it, clear the air, or post something lighthearted to put an end to it. He fell silent. Silence is also a fertile ground for supposition in today's world. The theories continued to proliferate. According to several followers, you could see he had already made up his mind at that point. Not only about his relationship with Lina, but also about his position within the team. The distance was no longer arbitrary. It appeared to be deliberate. Then came the next rumor, the one that gave us the impression that we were seeing the slow motion end of something. According to those with knowledge of the matter, Travis and the teammate at the heart of this weren't merely avoiding each other. In public, on and off the field, they were avoiding each other like the plague. No small conversation, no eye contact, no lighthearted banter. They seemed to have drawn invisible boundaries and challenged each other to cross them. And tension, like that, doesn't go away on its own. Fans were no longer only chatting at this stage. They were following. As if as part of a continuing investigation, every practice clip, sideline camera pan, and little response shot was being slowed down, cut, and uploaded online. And the more people claimed to see, the more they looked. Travis was doing more than simply avoiding that teammate. Any area that would place them in the same frame was something he was trying to avoid. No side-by-side huddles, no group warm-up exercises. He appeared to quietly go to the other end even during team stretches. It began to be reflected in the field as well. They failed to hook up on plays where they ought to have. Suddenly, minor misunderstandings that had never occurred before became commonplace. It was not specifically called out by commentators. The pauses in their voices said more than enough, but they're not going to stir that type of pot. When they attempted to explain why a certain play seemed so strange, you could hear their reluctance. The public hush, meanwhile, was growing louder off the field. To silence the conversation, someone in Travis's shoes would often make a statement. Post a cryptic, ignore the noise phrase, or at the very least post a happy pair. However, nothing happened. Lina's socials remained motionless. In his infrequent posts, Travis kept everything football related, and the distance between their public appearances grew. Then came the video that truly caused folks to gasp. Cameras captured the players returning to the tunnel during a post-game walk-off. The majority of the players were conversing or high-fiving spectators. With a straight expression and forward-looking gaze, Travis, however, swerved to the other side without missing a step as soon as the disputed teammate appeared, free of Lina. No easy smile. The same locked-in, distracted expression, as if his thoughts were 1,000 miles away. The tone of the whispers altered at that point. Some began to question whether Travis wasn't simply avoiding a certain teammate. Perhaps he was avoiding whole scenarios in which he would have to respond to inquiries or face side-eye. Everything felt considerably more sticky because of the moment. During those same weeks, Travis began to fade from the public eye. Online rumors about him and Lina were at an all-time high. He did nothing online to address it, clear the air, or post something lighthearted to put an end to it. He fell silent. Furthermore, in the modern environment, quiet feeds speculation like oxygen. The theories continued to proliferate. According to several fans, it was evident at that point that he had already decided on his position with the squad as well as with Lina. The distance was no longer arbitrary. It appeared to be deliberate. Then came the next rumor, the one that gave us the impression that we were seeing the slow motion end of something. According to those with knowledge of the matter, Travis and the teammate at the heart of this weren't merely avoiding each other in public. On and off the field, they were avoiding each other like the plague. They appeared to have created invisible boundaries and dared each other to violate them, as seen by the lack of eye contact, small conversation, and nonchalant, good game. Tension like that doesn't go away on its own. At this stage, supporters were tracking as well as chatting. As if as part of a continuing investigation, every practice clip, sideline camera pan, and little response shot was being slowed down, cut, and uploaded online. And the more people claimed to see, the more they looked. Travis was doing more than simply avoiding that teammate. Any area that would place them in the same frame was something he was trying to avoid. No side-by-side huddles, no group warm-up exercises. He seemed to quietly go to the other end even during team periods. It began to be reflected in the field as well. Plays in which they ought to have connected, but they didn't. Suddenly, minor misunderstandings that had never occurred before became commonplace, although commentators didn't specifically call it out since they didn't want to stir up that type of controversy. Their voice pauses spoke loudly enough. When they attempted to explain why a certain play seemed so strange, you could hear their reluctance. The public hush, meanwhile, was growing louder off the field. To silence the conversation, someone in Travis's shoes would often issue a statement, post a cryptic, ignore the noise comment, or at the very least, post a happy couple's photo. However, nothing. Lionel's socials remained motionless. In his infrequent posts, Travis kept everything football related, and the distance between their public appearances grew. Then came the video that truly caused folks to gasp. Cameras captured the players returning to the tunnel during a post-game walk-off. The majority of the players were conversing or high-fiving spectators. However, Travis? Eyes forward, straight face. And without skipping a step, Travis swerved to the other side as soon as the disputed teammate appeared. Words weren't necessary to let you know that something was wrong. It was the type of video that goes viral because nothing needed to be said, not because anything was said. Online users began referring to it as the tunnel moment, seeing it as evidence that whatever was going on behind the scenes was irreparable. The conversation's tone changed at that point. If there was tension, fans ceased arguing about it. They were now discussing how long Travis would stay. The rumors of a potential departure had become more than that. They were beginning to resemble forecasts. And such predictions didn't seem all that unrealistic given the way things were going. Finally, they had it out. Close enough for anyone in the vicinity to know something happened, but not in front of the cameras. It is said to have taken place outside of the official team coverage, following practice. However, a press release was not necessary to determine the subject. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what all the rumors are about. This was the "yep, it's over" moment for many supporters. Because, let's face it, until something has been spoken or something has snapped, you can't share a field, a locker room, or even the same air without reducing the tension. This narrative was no longer regarded as gossip when it first appeared in fan forums. It was a silent, unsaid affirmation that whatever relationship had now formally